Hey everyone, I'm Dark Quarter and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. So last time we were having lunch on the roof with Rin and Emmy, and actually I had trouble sleeping that night, so kind of went to the track and watched the sunrise, and then fell asleep on the bleachers and got woken up by Emmy, who came out for her morning run. Then we did the morning run, had a little bit of heart trouble, but it passed. So now Emmy brought us to the doctor. Sorry, I keep wanting to say doctor, but he's a nurse. Brought us to the nurse to make sure we wouldn't die. And the deal with this is that he asked me to pull up my shirt and got nervous in front of Emmy, so the nurse just asked her to leave. So let's go on with it, shall we? I begin to stammer that it's not really a big deal. She doesn't have to leave, but she's already out the door, and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it, huh? Or don't follow. He laughs again, like he's on some joke that it's over my head. Oh, I can still get it flustered. It's a competition of sorts we've had going on for a while now. That sounds incredibly sinister to me, and it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. That sounded a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it. Oh, I wasn't going to say anything. Actually, I was, but you beat me to it. No, you're right. I should fill you in so that you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see. I got hired on the same year Emmy started going here. Before that, I worked with Emmy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what? So he and Emmy know each other then? We had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck and nearly killed her, and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink at receiving the unexpected piece of news. So he knew her after her accident. Well, that's not my place to say. Anyway, we'd known each other for quite a while, so we have a slightly more familiar relationship than is strictly professional. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. I guess he's really worried about that. I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal. Don't worry, sir. I promise I'm going to be discreet. I had been wondering about what caused Emmy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I thought of. There were only so many ways that could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, it's still a little shocking. Well, thanks. You're a good kid, Hisao. I can see why Emmy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know. What do you mean? You didn't see her learning to walk. She'd go for so much longer than the others in the hospital. She refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to a point where you can even think about running again. Emmy did it all in about a year. He seems almost proud of her, like a father who watches his daughter win a competition or something. Hell, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her? Why not? Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics. It's a real concern. It's why she comes by every day after she runs. To say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs get cut up and her prosthetics are dirty. But enough about that. If we don't get you on your way soon, Emmy will think we're up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. After a few moments, he leans back, satisfied. Well, you sound pretty good to me, Hisao. You didn't have any chest pains while you were running, did you? No, not really. I had some trouble catching my breath, though, and my heart was racing belly in too. The nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. It's probably just because you're out of shape, but if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too much, and of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? I put my shirt back on, and the nurse leans out of the doorway to call in Emmy. What took you so long? Now I'm going to be late. The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Hisao, that's all. What? Come on, what have I told you about seducing my friends? I'd expected Emmy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I try hard not to blush at the nurse's innuendo. I'll try not to do it again, though I fear young Hisao may be lost to the female gender forever. Not freaking likely. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both the nurse and Emmy regarded me for a moment before bursting into laughter again. Jojo was funny, didn't I? Huh. I guess Emmy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Hisao, you should probably get moving. You still need a shower before class starts, don't you? Crap, he's got a point, and it looks like I've only got half an hour. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Emmy. I dash out of the room as the nurse begins to remove Emmy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I can just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Emmy, you've got to be more careful. I make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've already been up for 4 hours and class hasn't even started yet. This is going to be a really, really long day. I hope I don't fall asleep in class. Yeah, hopefully. Katawa Shoujo, brought to you by something I have no idea. Kind of blanked there. Sorry, guys. I was trying to think of something really cool or funny to say, and nothing came at all. So there we go. The morning sunlight streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Emmy has kindly deigned to give me weekends off from our morning runs. I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday, or if I just slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out of bed. All this running really has taken it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Emmy wasn't lying to me. It has gotten a little easier. I've been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves, but thus far I haven't minded them that much. Well, it's only been a week. I suppose there's plenty of time for me to start dreading the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I could ever skip out now. As Emmy said, it's harder to stop a routine when there's another person. And frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with a disappointed Emmy. She'd probably give me those puppy dog eyes and I'd feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today? Hey, you're coming to my track meet on Sunday, right? What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right? Those puppy dog eyes again. Of course I'm going. I owe you, right? Exactly, so don't forget, okay? Crap, Amy's track meet. I'd better get a move on if I don't want to miss her running, since she is the only reason I'm even considering going. Otherwise, it would defeat the whole purpose of going. And so I soon find myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all turning out to see our track team compete with another school like this one. So there's another school, huh? I'll admit it, it's almost comforting to know we're not the only school like this. After you see that there can be 2 schools with a bunch of defective kids, well, you stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case it sure as hell isn't. That's part of Yamaku's appeal, I guess. Learn that you're not unique. Hell, learn there's a lot of others who would kill to be settled with your problem instead of whatever they're dealing with. Some of the kids here aren't here because they're missing a leg or because they have a heart condition. Some of them might be here because they're as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they're lucky. And that's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a bitter sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I've got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I'm brought on my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance to the bleachers. You came. Of course, I said I would, didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things that don't mean them. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with our conversation. She turns on her heel and heads back towards the stands. I owe me money now. Why's that? I didn't think you'd show up. Emmy did. So I owe her 500 yen. You two bet an awful lot, don't you? Another shrug from my armless companion. I don't think so. We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. I came out to see if you'd come. For the bet, I presume. Rin leads the way, and soon we've settled down on an almost empty bench. Who is this? New person. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin, someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives her an oddly familiar-seeming grin. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. Huh? A snack? I wondered why I was down there. The woman laughs again in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before?
Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Mako Ibarazaki. I'm his mother.
So she has a mom.
Pleased to meet you.
Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, and better endowed Emmy. Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Emmy's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And you really don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Miss Iribazaki. Yeah, she does. That's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Another laugh from Emmy's mother.
I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume.
Rin nods, seemingly pleased by this assessment. She's right. I was thinking about sunsets.
You see, it's really up to us to make introductions and the like.
For lack of any better response, I nod. Miss Ibarazaki leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow.
So, how long have you and Rin been dating?
My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear. But just before I can begin to utter a hastily babbled explanation, Emmy's mother burst into laughter again.
Ha! You're a blusher, aren't you?
I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. Maybe.
So this must be a new romance then, mustn't it?
Wait, that's not the question Another laugh.
I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forget an old woman and her new nuisance.
Old woman? She sure doesn't look that old to me. Clearly Emmy gets her youthful features from her mother. I suppose I can let it go.
How kind of you.
It's starting. I don't know why I gave her that voice. Just started saying it, and I guess it became her voice. I direct my attention to the track, where they're preparing for the first sprint. It looks like the 400-meter dash. My eyes scan the runners before finding Emmy. She's on the outside. She's smiling with an almost cocky look on her face. The starter raises his pistol, and then he shoots one of the runners. Emmy explodes off the block, disappearing from the starting line in a blur. That one in the back kind of looks like, Misha. Got that kind of expression. It's amazing, even as the other sprinters converge on the lanes closest to the inside line, Emmy surges to the front of the pack. By the time she rounds the final turn, some of the other runners have caught up with her. Their efforts come to naught, though, since a final burst of speed from Emmy leaves them at least half a second behind. That is a weird pose, I have to say. Miss Iribazaki whoops and shouts, applauding wildly and generally looking like any other parent cheering on their child. Emmy bounds off the track, looking pleased with herself. I cheer right along with the rest of them. The announcer, sounding suspiciously like Misha, gleefully gives the results.
I think she's gotten faster since the last time.
That was incredible. Miss Iribazaki grins proudly.
Emmy's a heck of a runner.
We fall silent as the next event is being prepared. I'm surprised to see Emmy striding onto the track again. Why, didn't she just run? Emmy's mother nods.
Yes, but she runs multiple events for the team, especially the sprints. It's a lot of running, but Emmy can handle it.
From the looks of things, she's right. Emmy doesn't appear to be tired, as if she hadn't run the previous event at all. If not for the sweat visible on her shirt, you'd never know. Which event is this?
It's a 200-meter dash. She'll do this one, the 100-meter, and the relay.
Oh, I see. Once again, the pistol sounds, and another runner is killed. And once again, Emmy flies off the block. A thumping sound draws my attention away from the race. It's Ren's foot. She seems completely absorbed in the race. Emmy's mother cheers again, and I assume that the race is over. Sprints don't seem to me like they'd take very long to complete. Your foot? Your foot was bouncing on the bleachers. Oh. You seem pretty into this stuff. I'm surprised. Ren looks at me quizzically. Why wouldn't I be? No reason. I just thought stuff like sports wouldn't interest you.
I suppose you're right. It's not that interesting. But I'm watching Emmy, not the sport.
I don't follow.
Emmy's the most Emmy when she runs. You don't get to see Emmy at her Emmyest very often. But here, you can, see?
She directs my attention toward the track again, where the 100-meter dash is about to start. I watch Emmy closely. As she gets into the starter blocks, her whole body seems to relax, but it's a false relaxation. I can see that she's actually like a coiled spring. As the starter tells everyone to get set, her head snaps up and her eyes narrow slightly. Her mouth curls upward in what could be a grin and could be a growl. And another runner is shot dead. When the pistol goes off, it's as if she's been unleashed from a cage, like she was always moving at this blinding speed. But we couldn't see it happening until the starter's pistol dispelled the illusion of motionlessness. It's all over in a few seconds, but in those few seconds, I feel like I just witnessed something very personal for Emmy. As soon as she crossed the finish line, the fierce look was replaced by her normal grin. The conquering general returning to his farm. Amazing. She's really amazing. I've never seen anyone move that fast.
Well, don't look at me. I'm far too relaxed to run that fast. No, I think Emmy's prowess all came from her father's side.
At the mention of Emmy's father, Miss Irizaki looks wistful, almost sad.
He got her into running, you know.
Yeah, she told me. I'm uncertain as to whether or not it would be rude of me to ask her after Emmy's father. But after that look on her face a few days ago, I feel compelled to ask. Where is her father now, if I ask? Emmy's mother hesitates, clearly not willing to answer the question, but at the same time not wishing to appear rude.
Isn't around anymore.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. Emmy just seemed a little sad when she mentioned about earlier.
That's not surprising, considering. They were very close.
Oh, I see. A beeping noise suddenly emanates from Miss Irizaki's pocket. Reaching into it, she pulls out a cell phone and looks at it. Man, I really butchered that name. Sorry, guys.
Honestly, text messages. What is he, 16? Oh, nothing. I've got to go meet up with a friend of mine. Will you tell Emmy I'm very proud of her and that I'll call her later tonight?
Of course. I'll admit that I zone out for a while. I almost don't notice that the relay is about to begin, but when I look, I can't find Emmy. I thought that Emmy would be running the relay.
She runs anchor, so she won't be running for a while yet.
Ah.
Did you see it?
Huh?
Emmy at her Emmyest.
Maybe.
Maybe this time.
The race begins and I cheer Emmy's teammates along as they pass the baton. Finally, I see Emmy sprinting into the track to take the final handoff. Once again, I'm taken back by how graceful she looks when she runs. It really is beautiful. The look of determination and fearlessness on her face only adds to the picture. Emmy at her Emmyest, I suppose. But then as she crosses the finish line, I see her stumble slightly. It's only barely, but it's a definite stumble. Ren inhales sharply and Ashley looks concerned for a second.
Ah, Emmy.
Did she hurt herself, do you think?
You noticed it too? It must be bad.
She frowns as if deciding on the next course of action. Eventually that proves to be too tiresome and she shrugs again.
Well, let's go down. Gotta crown the victor. See if you can find a laurel branch.
That's not going to be easy. Ren shrugs.
At least we tried.
Well, we didn't really try all that hard. Or at all, but hey, whatever. Emmy is surrounded by her teammates, all of them congratulating her on the run. Ren seems to be waiting for Emmy to notice that she's arrived. Oh yeah, I guess you can't exactly wave Emmy over. Then again, I'm not sure that Ren would do such a thing even if she had arms. It doesn't seem her style to draw attention to herself, or to emote beyond shrugging. Either way, I'm not willing to wait, so I wave to Emmy, who looks up and grins happily at me, us. Hey, you showed up. Guess Helene owes me money, eh?
We would have brought a crown of laurels, but Hisao didn't find one.
Hey, neither did you. It wasn't my job to look. When did we sign jobs? When I said see if you can find a laurel branch. Try to keep up. I shrug. Guess Ren's rubbing off on me. Since it's my fault after all, Amy. Amy laughs at Ren and me. It's okay. I'm sure you'll make it up to me somehow. Sure. Good. So how do I look? I stop myself from blurting out beautiful or amazing and settle for the substantially safer. Very impressive. Emma seems pleased with this assessment. I don't mention how much more impressive her performance is given her lack of legs. I figure she knows that already. Besides, it seems like it would take away from her efforts somehow. Great to hear. I was worried that I looked a little slow on the relay, but I guess I did fine, huh? Actually, I noticed Ren kicks me and keeps me from finishing my sentence. What's that all about? He noticed it at the end. That's not good. Guess the nurse will look at it for me later. There's a carelessness in her voice, as if it isn't a big deal, but I suddenly notice a slight twitch on her face. Like she's trying to hide the fact that she's in pain. It's then that I notice her breathing is a little shallow too. I guess she really is hurt. She must notice my concern because she skips up to me and gives me a friendly pat on the shoulder. Hey, you look a little worried. I'm fine, really. Just sore from all the running is all. And come on, a little pain isn't going to stop me. Oh no? Emmy grins and for a moment she looks like she did during a sprint, fierce and unconquerable. Or to put it another way, really beautiful. Hasn't yet. Well then, I guess I shouldn't worry, eh? Damn right. I'm Emi Irizaki, fastest thing on no legs. I don't stop for anything. Impressive. Most impressive. Emmy giggles and then she seems to remember something. Oh, before I forget. Bren and I are going to do something next Sunday as a post-track meet celebration. You should come along. Normally we do it the day after, but since the track meet was on a Sunday, I've got homework and class and all that stuff to take care of. Plus, I'm running around, of course. What, of course? Oh, right. Your mom wants to say she's proud of you. She called you later tonight. I thought I saw her in the stands. I'm glad she made it. Used to be my dad who showed up to my meets, but Mom's done a pretty good job of taking over. She shivers slightly and I realize that she's still all sweaty. A breeze has started to blow too. I'm not cold at all and I've got my jacket with me, so without a word I throw it around her shoulders. Emmy jumps slightly and then grins at me. Hey, thanks. It's getting a little cold, I guess. Yeah, look like it. Just as I begin to wonder whether or not giving Emma my jacket could be taken the wrong way, a boy in a track uniform approaches. Hey, Emmy, you're going to miss the medal ceremony. Oh yeah, thanks. She turns to Ren and myself. You don't have to stick around for this part. It takes forever. Besides, you should get to cracking on your homework now if you don't want to be up too late, Hisao. Morning run tomorrow, don't forget. How could I? Good point. I mean, it's spending time with me after all. With this, she waves quickly and dashes off to receive her medals, or whatever they pass off as medal these days. Alright, well, this seems like a good place to stop, so I will. So, I'd like to say thank you guys for watching, thanks for being cool, and I'll see you next time.